The holiday season is here, and what better way to celebrate, I guess, than watching whatever Christmas movies that you can get your hands on. And who better to kind of continuously dish out more and more Christmas movies than Netflix. Netflix definitely pushes out at least 10 to 15 Christmas movies every year from what I see. I remember last year the big one was Jingle Jangle and the sequel to The Christmas Chronicles, and then you had The Christmas Chronicles 1 the year before that, and it's just, there's always new Christmas movies on Netflix. This is not shying away from that either. This is A Boy Called Christmas. It's a reimagining almost of how Christmas came about. I got a lot of feels from like the animated film Claus from a couple of years ago. And to me, I wasn't expecting Claus to be as good as it was. And I really did appreciate that. And that kind of drove me to start really thinking about these other ways that the origin story of Christmas could be told, and really starting to appreciate the thought process that goes into making these. So this is based on maybe a novel or a short story or a children's book by an author called Matt Haig, and it's the book of the same name. The book is called A Boy Called Christmas. It came out about 5 or 6 years ago, and this is the film adaptation to that book. Whether or not it stays true to it, I haven't really looked that far into it. I just know that it's based on this book. So it is somebody else's idea of a really nice interpretation of it. And it's, how Christmas became Christmas. So it starts off with this boy. The boy's name is Nicholas. He doesn't know his mother, but he knows that his nickname was Christmas. He doesn't know where it comes from. Christmas doesn't exist in the world he lives in. So what happens is, as he gets older, he realizes that he's poor. He lives in a little hut with his father. And then all of a sudden, the king of their land calls them and all of the people of the town in to kind of come up with an idea of how they can bring happiness back. Or hope, I think it is, how they can bring hope back. So after the king has this big meeting, father and the kid go back to their little hut. The father is visited by this scruffy looking dude. He's like, we gotta go in the woods. And the father's like, well, I can't bring my son, so someone's gotta watch my son. Here's my sister, and my sister's an asshole, treats him like shit. And now I'm gonna go off to try to find this land that nobody believes exists, called Elfinland, or Elfheim. Elfinland? Elfheim. I believe it's Elfheim. I just watched this movie yesterday, so I'm trying to remember as much as I can. So he goes off, leaves the boy with the wicked sister, who basically treats him like shit, and the boy's like, I hate you, I hate you. He's given a hat that his mother sewed for him. The hat lightly catches on fire, and as he tries to put it out, he learns that there's a map on the inside of the hat, and he believes that map is the way to Elfheim. So he leaves the aunt in the middle of the night and goes traveling out into the snow with a little mouse, and he tries to find his father so he can give his father this map, and they can find Elfheim and bring hope back to the kingdom, I guess you could say. Now remember, boy's name is Nicholas. And a big part of Santa lore is that one of his many names is Saint Nick. Nicholas, little boy, trying to find the land of the elves. There is no such thing as Christmas. And what I do appreciate too is that there is no religious aspect to it, just like how Claus was. There's nothing about Christianity or anything in the film. I appreciate it's taking its tone and setting it more on, say, the magic and the idea of hope and the idea of happiness, And when the boy kind of tries to find Elfheim, it's about whether or not he believes in Elfheim. So when he finally starts to believe, he finds it and he discovers the elves. But the elves don't trust humans. Why don't they trust humans? Well, a bunch of humans just came and kidnapped a bunch of elves. So they're like, fuck humans. And he's like, no, but that's a mistake. That's a mistake. I'm going to get the other elves back. And then he goes and he tries to save the day and he runs into a reindeer. And the reindeer, it's magical. He calls the reindeer Blitzen, as been the first reindeer in Santa's arsenal, you know. So the magic reindeer flies. He saves the elves. And then he comes up with the idea that I know how to bring hope to all the poor people in my kingdom. I need all you elves to make toys. And they all just do it for him. So they make all these toys, and he goes and he brings all the toys, and he goes to the king, and he's like, here's how you bring joy back and hope back to everybody's lives. And the king's like, good, you're going to do this every year, right? Okay, thank you, little boy. Like, it's just, I really appreciated it, but now that I'm talking about it, it has so many things that just kind of, they don't play off the same when you say them out loud, I'm realizing. But it is a very enjoyable film. It's a very good Christmas movie if you're just looking for the idea of... Oh, let me also say this. Christmas is technically just an elf holiday. So it's just kind of this time where they have this big party, and the head elf is kind of like, you know, fuck the party, things are traumatic, you know, humans exist and they're starting to find us. We have to prepare ourselves for the worst or whatever. So you have the idea that Christmas is just this time of being open-hearted. And that's what the elves try to kind of emphasize on, that it's more about being a good person. It's more about doing something good for someone else, and that's what they're celebrating. So it's, you know, one of those feel-good Christmas movies. It's got a happy ending. It has, you know, a tremendous amount of actors in it. It's got Toby Jones, Kristen Wiig, Maggie Smith. Who's the father? The father is Michael something. He was in Game of Thrones. You recognize him as the dude who wanted to really be with Daenerys Targaryen. I forget the actor's name, but he's in it. You got Stephen Merchant, who's a really funny comedian. Kristen Wiig playing the sister. Who else? The guy who plays the king, he's from a bunch of shit. The number one thing I think about, he plays the mayor in Gangs of New York, but I can't remember his name off the top of my head. But he's in it. It's got a bunch of actors in it that pop up, and you just go, oh, this is like fun to see them in this. And for the holidays, it is a nice film. There's no musical numbers except for the small dancing that you kind of see the elves doing. So it's not a musical in that sense. It's just there for the storytelling. And it's a very good reimagining of the beginning of Christmas and where kind of Christmas derives from. And I appreciated it for that. And I enjoyed it. It's on Netflix. It just came out, I want to say, within the last week. And it's really enjoyable. It's a really good, feel-good film for the holiday season. I'll probably be watching at least 2 or 3 more holiday movies at some point, you know. Being the movie guy like I am, that we're going to get tons of Christmas movies. I'm not going to give them all a chance. I'm going to give the ones that kind of interest me a chance. And I'm going to even say I didn't even sit down with this. I walked in to my wife, who had just started it, and I was watching it, and then the mouse came on the screen, and I was just like, oh, he's cute. The little boy's got a friend, like a friendly mouse. And I was just like, okay, I'll watch it. And then I actually wound up really liking it. So I definitely think you should go watch it if you're looking for a really nice Christmas movie this time of year. And just keep your eyes open for the other stuff that's going to be coming out. You know, like I said, Netflix pushes out tons of Christmas movies this time of year. So if you're ever looking for something new, especially, because I know we've all seen the very regular films of the holiday season, and this is a nice little film to add if you wanted to add something that's kind of outside the box thinking. This would definitely be it. Or Claws. Definitely watch Claws, because that was done even better than this. I think Claws is better than this one, but this one's just as good, in my eyes.